Welcome to Longdo Dict AI Deep Dive. You guys are clearly into learning new things, so today we're going to dive deep into a super interesting idea from a recent Longdo Dict blog post, delayed gratification.
Yeah.
You might have heard of it before, maybe even while you were learning English. But today we're going way beyond a basic definition. We're going to break down why this idea is so important, especially for you amazing people learning English as a second language.
It's really fascinating stuff.
We'll look into its behavioral science roots, uncover the story of the marshmallow test. Pretty intriguing, right?
Okay.
And see how it all ties back to reaching those big goals you set for yourself.
Exactly. It's all connected.
So let's break it down. What does delayed gratification even mean?
Okay, imagine this. You've got this delicious cookie right in front of you. But, if you wait a bit, you could get 2 cookies.
Ooh, now that's a dilemma.
That's delayed gratification in action. It's resisting a small reward now for something way better later.
Like saying no to 1 cookie now for the joy of get this 2 cookies later. Double the deliciousness, am I right?
Exactly. And this applies to so much more than just cookies, Longdo Dict blog gave a great example that might hit home for you as English learners. Think about studying for an English test like TOEFL or IELTS. You could be hanging out with friends right now, which is always fun. Or you could hit those books knowing it might mean a better score and more doors open for you down the line.
Man, that's a tough one. Instant fun versus long-term goals. So how can we as non-native speakers connect with this idea even more deeply?
Well, the blog post actually had a really cool Thai translation of delayed gratification. It means endure sourness to eat sweetness.
That's a powerful way to put it. It's like pushing through those tough times, like when English grammar seems impossible, all to reach that sweetness of being fluent.
Exactly. And it's this ability to delay gratification that can make or break your language learning journey and, honestly, other parts of your life, too.
It's true. It goes way beyond language.
But here's the thing. This isn't just some new age self-help idea. It's got deep roots in how we behave, in behavioral science.
That's what I find so fascinating. It's not just about willpower. There's actual science behind it.
It really is. And, one of the most famous studies on this whole delayed gratification thing has got to be the marshmallow test. They did it way back in the 1960s at Stanford University.
Oh, yeah, the marshmallow test. I've heard about that. It involves, these little kids and marshmallows, right? It's a real test of their willpower or something.
Exactly. They gave these kids a super simple choice, but, oh, so tempting. 1 marshmallow right now. Or, wait for it, 2 marshmallows, if they could hold on for a little bit.
Oh, man. That's tough. I can only imagine what those kids were going through. Did they totally cave under the pressure of those sugary treats?
Well, some did, but some. They showed some serious self-control, let me tell you. But here's where it gets really interesting. They followed these kids as they grew up.
No way.
Yeah.
What did they find out?
They found a link between being able to delay gratification as a kid and, get this, positive outcomes later in life.
Wait, you mean the kids who resisted the marshmallow ended up doing better in life? That's wild. What does better even mean in this case, though?
Good question. They looked at all sorts of things, like how well they did in school, how they were with people, even how they handled their emotions as adults.
Wow, so it really affected them long term.
It really did. They found that the kids who were better at delaying gratification, well, they tended to do better academically, had better social skills, and even showed greater self-control and were better at managing their emotions as adults.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It really makes you think those kids who waited patiently for that second marshmallow were really onto something, huh?
I know, right? And it kind of highlights this key point. Delayed gratification isn't just some random thing, It's a skill. Like learning a new language or playing an instrument, something you can get better at over time.
That's actually really encouraging. So even if we're not great at delaying gratification right now, we can learn and improve.
Exactly.
I like that. So also talked about how this connects to things like self-control and those long-term goals we were talking about. That feels super relevant for anyone learning a new language, especially English.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. Delayed gratification and self-control, they're like 2 sides of the same coin, That ability to just say no to what you want right now, to fight that urge for instant pleasure, that takes some serious self-discipline.
Yeah, it's like resisting that extra slice of cake, even though every cell in your body is screaming for it because it'll help you reach your fitness goals.
Exactly. It's the same thing with learning English. You might be tempted to just veg out and watch a movie after a long day, and hey, sometimes you gotta do that. But if you're really serious about becoming fluent in English, spending that time practicing your speaking or writing, even when it's tough, that's what's really gonna get you there.
So it's about recognizing those tempting distractions, that instant gratification, and making smarter choices that line up with our long-term goals, our big picture.
Exactly. Finding that balance, between enjoying the here and now, but also making progress on those dreams for the future.
So we're not saying to just banish all instant gratification from your life.
Yeah.
We don't have to become like monks or something and never have any fun.
Definitely not. It's all about balance, right? I mean, those little pleasures, those can be a way to take care of yourself too, which is super important for staying motivated.
Right. Self-care is important.
Totally. So it's more about making, mindful choices. Sometimes that means indulging a bit, but you got to be aware of why you're making those choices and make sure they're still moving you towards those bigger goals.
That makes sense. It's about savoring the moment, but also setting yourself up for success down the road. But how does this actually work for someone learning a new language, specifically English?
That's a great question. And the Longdo Dict people, they actually had some really good vocab words for this, temptation, that desire to just do the easy thing, even if it's not the best in the long run.
Yeah, I get that.
And then resist to stop yourself from giving into that temptation.
It's that inner battle, right? What you want right now versus what you know is good for you later.
Exactly. Think about those times when you're learning English and you hit a wall with a tough grammar rule. It'd be so easy to just give up and say, forget it, English is too hard.
Oh, I've been there.
But if you can resist that, push through that frustration, keep practicing, you'll get it eventually, and you'll feel amazing when you do. That feeling, that's the sweetness of delayed gratification.
I love that. So it's not just about resisting for the sake of resisting. It's about knowing that reward is waiting for you, that sweetness that makes all the sourness worth it. And for you guys learning English, that sweetness could be anything from passing an English test to just having a conversation with a native speaker and feeling totally confident.
Exactly. Understanding delayed gratification in English can actually help you make better decisions, not just with your English, but in every part of your life.
So true. It's they're not just teaching English. They're giving you tools to navigate the whole world. So any tips on how we can actually use this in our lives, day to day?
Well, one thing that really helps is setting what they call SMART goals. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, for example, instead of saying, I want to get better at English, which is a bit vague, you could say, I want to be able to talk about my hobbies in English for 5 minutes straight, and I'll do it within 3 months.
Oh, okay.
See, that's way more specific and measurable. It gives you something concrete to work towards.
That's a good strategy.
And when you reach those smaller goals, it keeps you motivated because you see that progress. It's that delayed gratification cycle in action.
It's like breaking down this huge goal, learning a whole new language into smaller, manageable chunks.
Right. And don't forget visualization. When you feel that temptation creeping in, just take a second to imagine yourself actually reaching that goal. How would it feel to give a presentation in English and totally nail it? Or to finally understand that grammar rule that's been tripping you up?
It's about painting that picture in your mind.
Exactly. It can totally re-energize you and help you stay focused.
So we're training our brains to see the bigger picture, the awesome stuff we can achieve if we're patient and we stick with it.
Exactly. And remember, this whole delayed gratification thing, it's a journey, not a finish line. It's like any skill, it takes time, effort, practice. Some days will be better than others. The important thing is to keep learning, keep pushing yourself, and you'll get there.
You've heard it here, folks. That was a crash course in delayed gratification, what it means, why it matters, and how it can seriously level up your life, especially as English learners. Now it's your turn to put it into practice. Will you keep practicing those English verbs or binge that new show? Study or hit snooze. Remember, every choice is a chance to flex that delayed gratification muscle. Keep your eyes on the prize, those long-term goals. And remember, a little patience can lead to amazing rewards. Until next time, happy learning.